Hey, what's up, YouTube? Welcome back to another episode of the podcast. I am your pilot, Parallel, and I'm joined once again by my two illustrious co-pilots, Splitscreen and Sammyboiii. Hello, fellas.
Hello.
Hello.
Good to see you. Good to see you. And in today's episode, we're going to cover mainly Star Wars gaming news. We've actually had a decent amount in the last week or so, which is funny, actually, because offline, we all had a quick conversation and said we're going to pause the pod for just a week or so whilst we had no news, and then we suddenly got an influx of some pretty great topics. So good to see you back on the pod, boys. And I'm glad we got some topics to talk about. Of course, before we get into any of that, we will do another round of Glup Shitto or No, which we quite enjoyed last time, I think. Did that go down well?
Yeah,
I loved it.
I enjoyed it.
I've
no idea.
Well, no clue, so I won't give you a clue just yet. I'll keep it a full surprise. But before we do, just really quick, I hope you guys are well. What have you been playing in a week? Star Wars or not? Anything you've been playing? Split? Do you want to shoot first?
Fortnite season came out yesterday, so I played a little bit of that. I don't think I've been playing any other games. Yeah, enjoying it. I'm liking the rivalry thing. Kind of reminds me of what DICE did with Battlefront 2, where it was like Finn or Phasma, and I really enjoyed that with Battlefront, and they never did it again. So, I'm glad that we're seeing that sort of come back into Fortnite. It's pretty fun.
Nice. Sammy, what about you? I know what you've been playing, but tell us.
Yeah. I've been playing Crimson Desert mostly this week. Well, I say mostly, like it only came out yesterday, but I pretty much spent the whole day playing that yesterday, and it's pretty fun so far. It's kind of like, it's too early to tell if it's really good or not, because it's the type of game you got to probably sink like 30 or 40 hours to like fully invest yourself in it, but it's good fun so far. So that's my next couple of weeks. I'll be just playing that permanently.
Well, I wish I could get hold of you. We know what you're up to.
Yeah.
Fully invested. Right then, we're going to go for it now, okay? We're going to get straight into our first segment of the pod, which is going to be Glup Shitto or No. So... Is that ultimate cheese or what?
That is the best thing I've ever seen. Oh my God. When you said about playing a video, I was like, it must be just like a trailer or something. That is unreal. Oh yes.
So
that is actually crazy, because that's like exactly how I envisioned it when we
were yeah, that's pretty much what I went for as well.
Oh God, incredible.
It's still a work in progress, to be fair. Well, I need to figure out the actual length or not, because I'm not sure if I dragged that just a bit too long. But I hope you guys enjoyed that one. So I think our subject matter for today's episode is going to be a bit easier than Sammyboiii, who is our inaugural Glup Shitto Hall of Fame member, let's call him. Today, though, a gentleman from the same episode of Star Wars. Here he is.
Oh,
that's a choice.
That's a choice. Yeah. So, of course, Boss Nass makes his appearance in episode 1. His major appearance in episode 1, and then he resurfaces again in episode 3, where he's obviously a much more minor character. Similarly to Sammyboiii, he has about a minute and 45 seconds of screen time in The Phantom Menace, if that helps with a bit of information. Of course, he is the leader of Gungan City. A bit of I don't want to call him an antagonist to Jar Jar, but certainly adverse to him in the film. So, without much time to think, Split, I'm chucking you under the bus first, mate. Boss Nass. You're going for no.
I'm going for no.
You're going for no.
I think. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like maybe that's controversial, but I don't know. I feel like, again, using the Sammyboiii side of it, he plays sort of too much of a role within that film to be classified as one for me personally. Like, sending Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan on their merry way with Jar Jar, and then obviously coming back to Padme and the Naboo come to them in the Holy Lands whilst they're hiding, and then he makes that decision like, right, okay, no, we are going to join you. Misa likes you. So yeah, I think not.
You think not? Okay, we'll take that. And I've tried to pick someone again who I think toes the line. Do you know what I mean? I don't. We'll get one or two eventually where it's one way or the other massively, but for the first few, I want to toe the line a little bit. And I thought he was definitely another one, a bit like Savolba, who you could probably make a case for and against.
He plays more of a pivotal role than Savolba, so
it's weird for me because like I instantly go like, surely he is, but then the criteria that I based Savolba on last time, yeah, like Mark said, he like now I'm like, oh, is he actually not a Glup Shitto? Like, I don't know. He's definitely more of a Glup Shitto than Savolba in my brain, but
I would agree.
He kind of does play I wouldn't say pivotal role, but he has impact on moments that kind of actually really matter. Even at the very end and he's like, they like liberate Naboo and he holds up the like orb thing. Like even that, he's like the final character they show. Like it's, I don't know, it's tough. But to me, oh man, this is like right on the line for me. I don't know, because if I went to my girlfriend who's a Star Wars fan, but she's not like us, she's not like a full-on nerd, and was like, oh, there's a new game with Savolba in it. She knows Savolba. She'd be like, oh, I know Savolba. If I said, oh my god, Boss Nass is in the new game, she'd be like, what? Who the fuck is Boss Nass? So
he's not as iconic.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna say yes, but it's like 49%, 51%. Like it's so close. Because again, the criteria that I used last time is pretty much arguably actually more in Boss Nass's favor. But I think even though he has pivotal moments, but I just think, yeah, surely most people, if you say Boss Nass, they're like, who the fuck is that?
Yeah, that is actually a really good point.
Yeah.
So
that's really the only thing, is just that he's not like popular, really. Like Savolba, everyone loves Savolba, sort of thing.
For me, it kind of rides on that too, Sammy. So yeah, I agree. He actually has a couple like big, major, almost like decisions and an impact on the events of Phantom Menace for sure. But he's like that much more comedic than Savolba as well, and he's like a Jar Jar tier character. He's meant to be stupid. He's meant to be a bit funny and silly, and the whole like all that sort of stuff. It's like, and again, if a game like Galactic Racer came out and we got like an end screen of Boss Nass like we did for Savolba and I think people like Star Wars fans would be like, oh, for fuck's sakes, like what the heck? So I think he falls into it. Again, I think it's close because his character does some fairly pivotal stuff, but his like Star Wars impact, like we said, outside of Star Wars, you're right, Sammy, I think most people wouldn't know. But then inside of Star Wars, he's definitely viewed as like a pure gag character. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so I think for me, it tips the scale just enough to say, do the fucking Glup Shitto.
Yeah. It's close. This one's even better than Savolba, though. This one's crazy.
Yeah,
I'm going to try and keep it to this level as much as I
like these ones. Yeah.
These do, yeah. I think you both make some really good points actually. In that, yeah, like recognition just isn't there compared to Savolba. So that actually, I feel like it brings it down a bit. I'm still gonna hold my position. I'm not to be boring, but yeah, interesting stuff.
All right, so
that's for me though. The only thing though is that like, it's just the name. It's just that he's not quite as popular, but he actually, every other criteria for me, it's like he's more important than Savolba, really.
Savolba's also in like a much more focused element of the film where it's basically him and Anakin, isn't it? Whereas Boss Nass is like complementary to the characters around him. So Savolba, by the nature of that, I think is boosted in terms of like
kind of that like rivalry factor. It's kind of like, oh, this is the guy that's against Anakin,
But maybe there's an argument there actually in that because he's not as recognizable, then it's a bit like, I don't know.
There we have it. Glup Shitto round 2. We're going for yes overall. 2-1. Hopefully we'll get a 3-0 next week with our next episode, should I say, of a Glup Shitto. But thank you, boys. I'm really, really enjoying that
was a good one.
The Glup Shitto. I know segment. That's
fair
fun.
Fair play.
I'll see if I can up the ante on the next one. So let's get into some game talk. We've had some good Star Wars news this week, and let's start with one that I think was a bit of a surprise, which is that Star Wars First Assault which was a cancelled Xbox 360 arcade game way back in 2013, has been leaked and modded to work on custom hosted servers by a group of guys led by a fella or fellas called Shaman. Massive, to be honest with you. Yeah, big up Shaman and the rest of the team. I forget the rest of their names off the top of my head, so apologies if you do catch this, but shout out to you all, because absolutely fantastic piece of work by you guys to bring us a very deep cut that we would have never got to lay eyes on prior to that. And then, just for those who don't necessarily know, First Assault was essentially cancelled before it was ever officially revealed. And there was, I believe, the article I read said that there was supposed to be a closed technical test / beta test, which is what we've been able to get our hands on, literally a day or mere days before it was cancelled, or after it was cancelled. Sorry, it was cancelled a day or two before that was supposed to happen. So huge. I don't know if you both had a chance to play it. I've got hands on. Split, I know you've played it. I mean, have you yet touched it?
No, I haven't. I've been really tempted to, but I think because it's going to be hard to like find actual matches that aren't crazy ping for me. I think so.
True.
I've been,
of course,
wanting to get it, and then I'm like, I think it unfortunately won't be enjoyable for me. And it's like I don't want to like. It looks cool as fuck. I don't want to be like, oh, that game sucks, because yeah. So for me, I've been watching a fair bit of gameplay, but I haven't. Look, I might eventually download it if there's like events that means it's like popular in Australia. I'll probably jump on it, but I feel like it would be. I'd be playing on like 300 ping, and it wouldn't be. I'd just be dying over it.
That's true. I didn't even consider that obviously the hosted servers would have a huge impact on you. So context on it then as well. So it's essentially it's 8v8, I believe it was from memory. It was 8v8, and it's Empire versus Rebels. The map that is available to us right now is Bestine, which is a outpost on Tatooine, which is actually featured in Star Wars Outlaws, which is I thought was really cool to be able to sort of play another element of that part of the Star Wars world. And it plays a lot like Call of Duty, but from back in the era. Quite snappy gameplay, got like a medium sort of grade time to kill, but it's got a Battlefront / Battlefield style squad mechanic where you can like spawn in on your guys, and they're all featured in your HUD and stuff. You can see what they're up to, and so on and so forth. And from my brief hands-on, it's a real shame that this didn't release. Super fun, very interesting on that. When we talked, I think it was in the second episode of the pod we ever did, we described our sort of perfect Star Wars games, and I said, give me a Star Wars COD or a Star Wars Halo, and I'm like, there it is. Gutted. But I mean, wow, what an awesome piece of like history to come back up on. And Split, I'll like to chime in because I know you have played it. I mean, did you enjoy it? How do you feel about the cancellation of that and it now coming out? What's your overall thoughts on that? And I guess how do you feel about the impact it could have had on Star Wars games going forward as well?
Yeah, it's really interesting. I mean, I've really enjoyed playing it. I sort of likened it to a game that I played on PS3 called Haze. I don't know if you recognize that at all.
Is that the art? It kind of the art cover. It's got like a yellow mask, and the guy's eye is.
Yes.
I know the game. Yeah.
So it feels like it plays a little bit like that, and I enjoyed playing that back in the day. And yeah, I mean, it's kind of got a bit more of like a realism feel to a Star Wars game, which I think is quite interesting, especially in like the weapon design and the vehicle design and stuff like that. Yeah, it's a real shame we didn't get it, because I feel like it would have been so cool. And actually, for some additional context, First Assault it was infantry only. It was due to release in 2013. In 2014, we were then supposed to get a vehicle combat game, and then in 2015 we were going to get Battlefront 3. So it was serving as a precursor to Battlefront 3. So
when you say Battlefront 3, you mean the original Battlefront series?
The original Battlefront series,
yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting to me as like, well, if this Disney acquisition never happened, like what would we have had? So yeah, that's always been interesting to think about. And actually, there's a developer who worked on, I believe it was Jedi Survivor, who actually worked on First Assault, and said a couple of years back that the game was like actually really close to releasing. So obviously they were going to have their like beta test and stuff, but then it meant that the game was probably only weeks or a couple of months away from like full launch. So yeah, it's a shame we never actually got to see it, because it could have been really interesting. And obviously, we're playing on this one Bestine map, but we obviously don't know the rest of the map. We don't know what else they would have had in the game. Yeah, it's a real shame not to have seen it. So yeah, but I'm honestly grateful to the developers who put this together, that we actually get to play it and experience it. Because I mean, yeah, I've always seen like little trailers or like gameplay clips from the leaks from years ago. So yeah, it's nice to just have that.
There must be a level of like vindication for those devs. Just like, yes, people have actually managed to get
100%.
hands on, and obviously pretty much all of the comments I've seen. This is a technical test. It's a bit janky. Like the the clambering, sorry, is not great in this test at all. You almost just teleport up sometimes. But
yeah,
I do hope those people who put, like you say, put time and effort into this feel somewhat seen. Because it must have sucked back in the day to have put a lot of your time and effort into creating this project and then to have it scrapped. So pretty cool.
Yeah, no, it would be incredibly disappointing. I'll try and find a post, because it was that developer I was speaking about did tweet about it actually. So yeah, so it's Patrick Wren, who senior encounter designer on Jedi Survivor. He was former senior multiplayer designer at Halo as well, actually.
Damn. Well, that could explain some of the DNA there as well.
Yeah. So he said, it's been wild to see people playing a game I worked on over 10 years ago. It's been amazing and sad at the same time. But overall, I am grateful people at least get to play a slice of what could have been. It's quite nice.
Awesome. And shout out Patrick, because that's awesome.
Yeah.
Sammy, what about you? Again, I know you've not yet had hands-on, but I'm sure you have spent a bit of time looking into the gameplay. You've probably had enough time looking at it to get a feel of what's in the map and sort of availability and such. Again, how do you feel about, I guess, A, what the game looked like, and then B, what it could have meant for the future of Star Wars? Because if it succeeded, we'd probably be looking at a very different landscape today.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest like grievance for me, is like, man, like not even just this game, but what would it have done for the rest of Star Wars gaming? And even now, the people might be seeing this and being like, damn, like people are so hungry for a shooter that they're going back and getting a 2013 like beta test and just like modding it to work and shit. So it still might have some sort of like a legacy that this could be a game in a few years. They release a game like this and we go, oh man, maybe that was because they saw the excitement for it and stuff.
100%.
But yeah, it's obviously disappointing that we never saw it. And to me, it's always baffling when it's like that close to launch. Like, I don't get why you don't just launch it and make a bit of money back. And then if it's a complete flop and you have to shut the servers down, like that's whatever. But for me, it's like, I find it so weird when games get to that point where they're like weeks or months away from coming out and they're like, no, we've spent years making this and however many millions of dollars and we're just going to never show it. Like, what the hell? It doesn't, obviously I'm not a businessman. I don't know, but to my brain, that doesn't make sense. You've sunk that much into it. You may as well
give it a shot.
You may as well get it out and just see what happens. But it happens a lot. So I think there is obviously a lot of cost. That's probably the last. Yeah, that's part of it. And I think just the amount of money that you have to spend then on marketing and running the server still. And I get that there's a lot of cost to it. So it seems like it's a pretty common thing. I've seen a lot of games that get really close to coming out and then just get cancelled. But it's always just disappointing, because I think to us as fans, we're like, man, it's so close. It's different if it's like 3 years from coming out. Like, imagine they cancelled FOTOR now. We'd be like, oh man, that sucks. But we're not close enough to be fully like devastated by that. We'd just be like, oh man, that's shit. But imagine like a week before that's meant to come out and they're like, oh, we're cancelling it. I would genuinely cry. I think.
Don't tempt it.
Yeah.
So maybe that was the fate of the Old Republic all along.
Yeah. Oh god. Yeah. Let's not do that. Let's not do that. But if that game gets cancelled,
we're done, bro. I'm gonna burn all bridges that I know in the community, man. I'm just gonna roast every single person that I've ever known from anywhere. Lucasfilm, even EA people are copping it. Everyone. I'm just going in on everyone. Oh god. But yeah, it's cool to see. Like you said, it's a cool piece of history. This is kind of cool that we just get to experience this. Like, it's a pretty rare. You don't see that many games like that that sort of come out like 15 years later as a mod, and everyone's like, oh man, this would have been cool. So it's just a cool, kind of a trip down memory lane. And it looks, watching the gameplay, it looks like it kind of, it's cool to see what gaming was like back then, how different it is to now. Just a lot more, everything's a bit more simple and like makes you feel nostalgic for those days. Because I think the game would have done pretty well. That's why I'm confused.
Me too.
Why it got cancelled. Like the games back then, especially shooters, and like you look at Call of Duty back then and Halo and that, they were all doing really well. Battlefront carried a big name back then, and then you've got this. If that had come out, like I feel like it would have done well, but yeah, they must have.
We'll never know. We'll never know.
Yeah, they must have had their reasons for cancelling it, I guess, because it was less common back then to cancel.
Yeah,
so I feel like maybe there was a reason, but yeah.
I believe some of the reasons cited were just purely around like licensing. Is that right? I don't know for sure. I'm seeing those comments float around licensing and due to the Disney acquisition, and
that makes sense actually. The timing,
conflicting with whatever Disney's sort of
the Disney acquisition is likely what would have caused.
And probably because when they bought it, and then obviously Battlefront came out 2 years later. They probably, part of that acquisition was probably like, we're going to bring Battlefront back, because that's when EA got the exclusivity. So it was probably like, all right, fucking, we'll just scrap this, and that's the focus. Which again, maybe was the right call, because Battlefront as a series has done well, but it just feels wrong to like have a game like that with so much potential just be thrown away for Battlefront 2015, which was a good game, but it's not like that was like the ultimate dream game that everyone wanted, because it launched and everyone had complaints about it and stuff. So
and also kind of disappointing. This game would have had 2 years on the market before that even hit. So it's like not like it. I doubt it would have been that successful that 2 years later people refused to play the new Battlefront over it. Do you know what I mean? So but yeah, definitely a cool slice of history. And for me, hearing that it was part of like the Xbox 360 arcade, which was almost like a precursor to the modern day gaming world, of which is digital only games. They had no physical releases, and this was obviously an online only game. From what we see, there was no campaign. Very much in the vein of Xbox 360 arcade, which are smaller projects. So it's kind of cool. And I sort of seeing the artwork of the little arcade banner, it kind of took me back to
that 360 logo with the arcade, the white. That's just like such a throwback, man. It hits me right in the nostalgia feels.
So it means nothing to me.
You're a PlayStation gamer, are you?
Well, I was, but I also just around that sort of time was very much on the Nintendo Wii, and like, you know, I was a Wii boy.
Maybe nothing wrong with Wii, dude. What console?
No.
Not gonna catch me dissing Nintendo Wii.
Nah,
I got a PlayStation 3 in like late 2013, Christmas 2013, I think. So I was like,
So I think overall we will agree this is just a bit of a shame, really, in honesty, but very, very, very cool that we've even got to see it and try it. I won't lie, it's not like I'm going to get deeply invested in this and be part of the First Assault hardcore community that's jumping lobbies every night. I really enjoyed getting hands on, and if they do release any additional content or manage to make anything new or even add to it, I'll definitely check it out. But
they are modding it, so I think custom maps might be. I've seen like UE3 be chucked around in the server, so I think there will be more maps added to it because fans making them. So
awesome. And if they do, I'll be there for sure. But pretty cool. Anyway, we've got some more Star Wars gaming news. This week Star Wars Monopoly was announced, so cool. Moving on to in all seriousness, and I didn't mention this to you boys because I wanted to go there.
That's funny.
So we've got it's actually titled Monopoly Star Wars Heroes versus Villains, which is a new take on the traditional Monopoly game mechanic, and we won't go too deep on this one. It's going to be a physical release on PC and consoles, so Xbox, PlayStation, PC. I don't think it's got a Switch release, or am I incorrect?
It does.
No, it does.
Nintendo Switch 1 and 2. Yeah.
That's it. But it's not getting a mobile release. And it is a $30 game, so it does have a price tag. It's not free to play. And what they're teasing us with is essentially an element of like characters having abilities, it's 3 versus 3 in terms of your roster. So you pick 3 heroes versus 3 villains, and they have ways they can affect the gameplay, whether that be through like manipulation of dice or potentially the properties. We don't know too much just yet. But again, a bit of a surprise one. I definitely didn't see it coming. It's being developed by Ubisoft. Really, really quick on this one, just to move forward. Split, I know you've got a level of interest in it. Are you going to be purchasing it to try it out?
Yeah, no, I will definitely get it. I think it's one of those things that I will probably enjoy playing at home, like with my girlfriend a bit, because it does confirm couch co-op already, which is great because it means I can sit here, like girlfriend next to me, and we can just like, if it means that we can couch co-op online, that'll be fun. Or we can just like sit down, play together against online players, and just like swap controllers. I think it'll be really fun. It'll be a good like party game as well, especially if I can get it on the Switch, then I'll just, take it round to the family and just play a bit of Star Wars Monopoly. My mum's big on Monopoly Go on the phone, so which would be why that they're not releasing it on mobile.
True.
And so yeah, I know she'll really enjoy it as well. So I've definitely got like an interest in it purely because of that. But then also, it's multiplayer Star Wars, which we're starved of right now. So I'm kind of like, well, and to be honest though, I actually am like genuinely interested in seeing like what hero abilities are. Like they say about how every game's going to be different, and all the different team compositions mean that like there's so many different possibilities. So if they can actually follow through with that and make this fun and competitive with decently, not like stupidly long games, then I'm actually here for that. A lot of people are like, oh, like this is why not Battlefront 3? It's just like, well, I get that, but at the same time, like, this game is, I do get that, but like we've had over the last
funny, isn't it?
11 years, like,
not even a similar game.
I know, but it's like over the last 11 years. Over the last 11 years, we've had so many like serious games, like proper's not the right word because obviously a proper game, but serious in the action adventures, like multiplayer shooters,
like
whatever,
blockbuster type stuff,
like big AAA blockbuster games. We've had quite a few of those over the last 11 years, and we've not really had a sort of a family like fun style game. And I think that's perfect for the Star Wars IP. Like why not? So I want to see more like that, Star Wars,
yeah, that's all I joke around to it.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I mean, look, I think it could be fun. We'll see if it gets post-launch content. It'd be interesting because they could add more characters to it. There's some pretty deep cut characters in that as well, like Bo-Katan and Reva and Dedra Meero. Like, obviously they're not massively deep cut, but normally you see the 9 episodic films, but they've gone into some of the TV shows and things, which is really cool. So yeah.
So for me, just to be completely frank, I'm probably not picking it up. It's not a sort of thing I'll find the time to play over the other games I got, I think. And I think it's just frankly, I won't want to drop 30 quid in it. That said, and I know I made a couple jokes about it in our group chat, I don't have a problem with them releasing games like this, and the argument of where's Battlefront 3, why are we making this, like, as you say, Sammy, they're not even similar games. They're developed by completely different people. The existence of Star Wars Monopoly does not affect the non-existence of Star Wars Battlefront 3. Just like
absolutely
Hunters didn't, just like Beyond Victory didn't. It's like, come on, like another list. But definitely, always happy for other people to get something to enjoy and play. And is it cool, or the usage of the Star Wars IP that I would be putting on the table? No, but there are people who will play it, and I've seen plenty of people like taking jabs at it. But I've actually seen a decent amount of people also saying, like, I'm actually up for that. That'd be fun. Like you just said, Split. So Sammy, again, on your shoulders now. What's your thought? I think you're more in my camp, right, from previous chats, but
yeah, I'm probably like really in the middle. I will definitely be playing it and stuff, but how much I play it, yeah, but like more just for. There's something to play. It's not. I'm not like
for sure.
Damn, this is going to be amazing. I'm going to play 100 hours of it. But who doesn't like Monopoly? Like, it's a universal game. Everyone's played Monopoly.
Monopoly is fun.
Yeah. So it's like it's the type of game that I'll be like, yep, I'll definitely pick that up and play it, and I might make some content on it and just like see what it's like. But I'd imagine 2 to 3 weeks later, I probably won't. It'll be the type of game that it'll just come out every now and then, like
Probably
randomly.
not becoming a full-time Star Wars Monopoly YouTuber. Then.
Nah, unfortunately not. But no, it looks interesting. The heroes and villains part of it is kind of cool. If it was just straight Monopoly but Star Wars like pieces, I'd be like, then I probably would be like, I don't know if that's worth me playing that. But I think because there's some level of like evolution to the game of Monopoly where they're actually incorporating Star Wars to like change it, then I'm like, all right, that's interesting enough that I'll play it and just see what it's like. But
that's fair. And they're doing some cool stuff with like the board. Actually, to be fair, like the board, I've seen like, they've got, like Jabba's palace or like other facilities like in the middle of the board and like a 3D render. That does look kind of cool, I'll admit. So that's a really fair comment actually, Sammy. That they're not just theming it and letting it go. There is some additions to it. So cool. Yeah. And then on to our big topic for today, which I think is the biggest Star Wars gaming news we've had in a little while because of the potential ramifications this could have. Could be massive, or it could be not so massive. But I'm heavily leaning towards But I'm heavily leaning towards. I think this is going to be huge, which is Star Wars assets and feature sets have been added to UEFN, which is the Fortnite creation tool. We got a real big dump of information this week, which took us through some of the pre-made maps/islands that are available, some of the game mode templates that they're laying out for us, the tools that they've added. There's even a custom lightsaber bench in here, which is it's like a watered down version of the Jedi Survivor lightsaber creation tool, which is freaking sick. Did not see that come in at all. So I'm going to bring it up on screen real quick just so we can take a look at some of the bits and bobs because there's some real cool stuff in here. Let me share my screen. So here we go. So first and foremost, I love this. I love the usage of the Star Wars yellow. I think it always looks great. So I'm just going to play the trailer here as well. It won't have any sound, but I'll just let it play out. This does look incredible. And we're already seeing on Twitter especially loads of really cool content. And this is Navarro from The Mandalorian. Tell me if it doesn't look awesome.
No, it looks sick. I could talk about a lot of this stuff all day, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, there's the lightsaber bench there. You can change its colors. You got capture points. Like you can, UEFN, I think a lot of people don't really understand what UEFN actually does. It's like, yes, okay, there's templates given to us already, but it is literally like Unreal Engine that plugs directly into Fortnite. So you can just make absolutely anything you want. Actually, I mean, that side scroller there was quite a good example of that.
Yes.
Like you can just build any game you want. You can import custom assets. Like just the potential for it is mental. If you wanted to build your own RPG story game in Fortnite, you can, like Lego Brick Life and Lego Fortnite, all that stuff was built in UEFN. Rocket Racing, which is the Rocket League racing game, was built in UEFN. Like the potential is insane for this.
Absolutely. And as you say, like the breadth of this is so massive. And when I watched this originally, I'll admit my initial thought goes to like recreating Star Wars Hunters, Battlefront 3 inside of Fortnite. But you're right, there was like that 2D, not 2D, sorry, that platforming side scroller there. Like, that's so dope. That's so dope that we can do stuff like that. And then you had that mode there. We had the characters on Tauntauns like knocking each other off into the frozen water here, like just fun stuff as well. So
like Fall Guys, but Star Wars.
Fall Guys, that's what I'm sick. So the potential for this. Obviously, we're going to get some shooters, but the amount of other really cool Star Wars projects we could potentially get here is going to be awesome. Like, honestly awesome. And what gets me for this is obviously all officially licensed. This is one of the biggest things I think that will come out of the Epic and Disney collaboration is stuff like this. I did notice that Disney will take a 20% cut of any profits made on the creator maps, which is obviously them starting to recoup some of that money that they invested. So no surprise there. And as it says here, custom maps can be published as of the 1st of May. What they did show us off the rip, and I don't think it's in this article, but instead here, is a template that they've already created, Epic Games themselves, which is Team Conquest, which plays a little bit like Galactic Assault, I believe, from my first sort of look at it, like a mini Galactic Assault from
a little bit.
Battlefront. I'm watering that down, absolutely. But this is a full multiplayer Empire versus Rebels on Tatooine. It has hero transformations. So once you, as you just saw right there, that Rebel turned into Rey. Dude, tell me this isn't exciting. Sammy, I'll let you sound off for a little bit right now. Like, where do your initial thoughts go with this? Like,
when the initial news before I'd actually watched anything, I was kind of just like, it's all. It was the same as when they announced the Disney like collaboration stuff. I was kind of like, oh, like there's some cool stuff that will happen, but I didn't think anything too much of it. But watching through all this the other day, yeah, definitely the potential for this is insane, which like I should have known that before, because obviously the other games they've made in Fortnite are kind of crazy as it is. But it all looks really exciting to me. It almost feels a little bit like the Star Wars version of like what Battlefield has with Portal, where it's just now it's over to the community, just go make whatever you want. And Portal has had some awesome shit come out. Even recently, they did like an official burnt peanut one that it was like 4v28 or something. It looked really fun and
cool, man.
Yeah. So like even just stuff like that, I just think weirdly I'm actually more excited for those fun, stupid little games than the Battlefront remake sort of thing. Because I think to me, it's just too much like expectation of it's not actually a proper Star Wars Battlefront or a Star Wars shooter, so it won't hit quite the same for me. I'm sure I'll definitely play them, but I don't see myself being like, you know, that one you just showed where it's like the Team Conquest sort of thing. I can't see myself being like a Fortnite Star Wars Team Conquest like main. That's just I can't really. It might be really good and I might get addicted, but I just think when it's not. Yeah, it does. It looks everything looks really good.
It's got the Hunter aesthetic, hasn't it? Because
it does. But I think for me, it still falls into that category of like, it's not an official release, and it's not. There probably won't be the whole like progression, and I want to unlock this new blaster, and you know that's a part of multiplayer games for me. Is that the journey that you go on and you unlock the stuff and like feel invested in it? Whereas like say the Star Wars season for Fortnite that they did like last year, that was really fun. But after like 10 games of BR, you get a couple wins and you're like, all right, like I've kind of done what I need to do. So I think that's going to be the same for me with the big modes, but with like say that Tauntaun mode, like that sort of shit, I can see myself streaming that every week. Like that sort of thing would be so fun to just share with the community, and people are going to make some crazy stuff. So those are the parts I'm more excited for.
You could lose yourself there in pure fun without the expectation of grinding, earning guns, earning levels, ranking up. That's where you go with that.
Yeah, because it's like that with Fall Guys when that was out. I didn't, and it's probably part of it is for me, like as a creator, you change the way that you play games is different. I don't often play games just for fun anymore, which is probably sounds really like sad, but it's not. I love what I do, but it's like I'm playing for a reason most of the time. But then a game like Fall Guys came out, and that was like during COVID times, and you just jump on and just fuck around and have fun. And like that, those sort of games are they can draw me in, because it's like there is no, oh man, I got to grind. I need to get on Fall Guys tonight to level up. Like that wasn't the case. It was just like, let's just jump on and So those sort of things are definitely exciting to me. Like just and even that little side scroller, just cool random shit. That's what I think this can do best. I don't think this can replicate a Battlefront and make it like this is the next big Star Wars shooter. I just think that needs to be an official, proper game that like the developers have made that themselves and everything. But in terms of those fun little modes, I think that's something Star Wars has missed. We don't have enough community-driven stuff, because they're so like particular about the IP that they don't let people were making. I remember that like episode 1 Racer remake that was like a fan made thing.
Yes,
it looked sick, and they just were like no, and just like send a cease and desist straight away, like stuff like that. They're so strict on it, which I get, but it's like let us have some fun, man. Just let us fuck around. So that's what I'm keen for mostly, I think.
Yeah.
I think I completely get your stance on because I will say I'm a sucker for things being official. I've always been like that when I grew up. I was like, I don't like knockoffs and I don't like cheap imitations. It's like I need a real thing. And when I first saw it, I completely get that level and train of thought, because it's like there's an element of like, what am I playing this for? Because let's be honest, and you're right, gaming's changed. Everything's a live service, like, and there's always a reason to play something to go for. Very few games actually come out just for fun. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's been that way for a long time. You can go as far back as Call of Duty games back in like 2007, Halo. Like you were ranking up and doing stuff. So I think that's completely valid. I'm certainly not going to ever knock some opinion for that. For me, though, as someone who does play Fortnite as well, because I know this will allow us to earn a level of XP, I can progress my Fortnite level and battle pass. So as a Fortnite player, I can put time into this and progress towards the battle pass I've purchased and stuff. So there's an element of that which keep me interested, I think, personally. And I will say, because it's hit me by like such a surprise with how detailed this looks like it can be, I think that's going to drag me in. Like, look at this skybox, dude. Like, that is nuts, dude. This isn't just somebody knocking out like a pyramid with the Fortnite creative mode and just making it look like a stylish role. Like, it really is. And I think that's going to really capture me. And I said to you guys in our group chat, I want to be able to play their own official Team Conquest mode, like ASAP. I hope that's a by Epic release game type, because that in some ways to me will feel quite official.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because at least the mode they're putting out has like proper Star Wars HUD, proper Star Wars UI, and that's the things that pull me in. Because my worry when we heard about this was I going to be playing a Star Wars game, but every piece of font that I see is the weird Fortnite font, and am I going to be looking at like the banana dude, Mr. Peely, and that dragged me out of it completely.
That was my issue with the BR stuff. Was like I'm running around and I'm Darth Maul and it looks sick, and then Sabrina Carpenter comes and carries me for a win. It's like, what the fuck am I doing right now? So, which again is not the fault of Fortnite, because like I know that's what that is, but yeah, if it was if it's in this, I'd be a bit like, oh man, that's disappointing.
But the crux for me here is this mode and the tools they've got allows you to force people to play as a rebel or as a stormtrooper. So I don't have to, if I don't want to, be playing, as you say, Sabrina Carpenter versus Kim Kardashian with lightsabers in Fortnite. Like, if I want to be Ahsoka versus Darth Maul, I can do that, and that's so cool to me. So there are elements of this that I think, if done well, can have longevity, I think. And I think from the excitement I've seen, there'll be enough people creating stuff for this that we're going to get high quality stuff, and I think there's enough excitement around it that people will play it. So whether that be you guys or ourselves, there are going to be people that are deep on this, and I think that's fucking awesome.
Yeah,
that's my biggest hope, really, is just that there is some like depth to the gameplay, that there are, you can actually figure out which blasters are the best, and they're not all just kind of feeling the same. And like that, if there is that skill curve to it and stuff, then that will definitely draw me in more than if it's just like, well, kind of everything feels the same and it's just all cool Star Wars skins. That won't feel as exciting. But like the way that the blasters felt in the BR, like they all felt very different than each other and felt really
a lot of them are those weapons. A lot of them are returning, as well as some new additions. It seems.
All of them.
All of them. Fantastic. And it's stuff like this here, right? Seeing a Star Wars UI with a little like holographic blue effect. Oh, it's the cherry on top.
Yeah.
Because that was just a square rectangle box with the little funky Fortnite font. It's like, where does it stop being Fortnite and start being Star Wars? And I think the best thing about this is it's trying to be Star Wars as much as it can. And I'm really excited for that. There's lots to do, like you said about Tauntauns. I mean, they're giving us Tauntauns in this, man. It's so sick. And another thing that really excites me for it, of course, and I've been a very vocal supporter of this so far, is the virtual Disney park that they're going to put out, which will obviously have an element of Star Wars. So seeing what they're putting out here being such high quality really reinforces my excitement for that. And I'm hoping that Epic themselves, probably using this toolkit, are going to create some multiplayer modes within the Disney park stuff.
I'm hoping so. Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping they'll just keep updating this with more Star Wars assets as well, because so far they've added everything that we saw in that Star Wars season, essentially.
100%, yeah.
Like the First Order base,
And
the
more.
Resistance base, and yeah, obviously with like Navarro, and some additional like Tatooine style
Stuff like
buildings.
separatist tanks, dude. Like, didn't see that coming.
Like no, not at all. And there's so much that they, this is a bit of like a layer of icing on the cake, really. I think, but there's more layers that need to go on, or maybe paint's probably a better one to an analogy for that. This is the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more that they could add to this and like empower creators to keep doing more. I spent quite a few hours in it earlier today, just like sort of messing around with some stuff, because I'm going to build something for UEFN as a solo project, but then I've also engaged a few other people in something that we're going to work towards together to try and hopefully get something out for May 1st to publish. And
nice deal. Look forward to seeing that.
So yeah, that'll be really cool. And actually, what's so exciting about this for me is that I work in the games industry, but I've not actually touched Unreal Engine properly for years. But now I'm actually going to be sinking my teeth into it quite a lot. Because of this, which is really exciting. Like
that's amazing. Is that not? That's fantastic. Isn't it? That's so cool. Like you,
so
as you
nice
say, someone in the industry is now like reinvigorated to go, I'm going to get involved in UE. I want to see what I can do with this, and I guess expand his skill set.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, a lot of the skills that I learn at uni and stuff, like they're sort of there, but it's just getting things to come back and remember, like, oh yeah, that's what that does, and this is what that does, and like getting more new skills. Thankfully, there's no blueprint system in UEFN, which was like basically the visual scripting side of it. It's all just there in settings, or like there is Verse, which is like a Python coding thing, I think, but it's all there, and there's a lot of documentation with Epic. So yeah, just going to be fun to learn it and get into it and release some cool stuff, hopefully.
100%, dude. And I touched on the ability to transform into heroes, and this is through a new tool they've added called the Hero Device. So one thing, and naturally I would, being a player of the game, but as soon as I saw this, I thought, and as I said previously, somebody could recreate a hero shooter, much like Star Wars Hunters, using this, because it's literally right here. It takes us through here: Chewie, Rey, Palpatine, Vader, Mando, and Leia. Each character has their health and shield increased by different amounts. Movement speed and jump are either increased or decreased, and all characters have infinite stamina. To learn more about character loadouts and stats, see Hero Devices. So all of these characters have completely different loadouts, to be fair, much like something like Hunters offered us. Reeve had a different health amount to Groz. Her attack, speed, and damage was completely different to his. Her abilities obviously wildly varied. I know that in this, for example, Mando has his jetpack, so he can traverse the map very, very quickly. Then he has dual blasters and his Mimban rifle. So he's got a completely different play style to Chewie, who uses his bowcaster and is obviously bound to the ground, can't fly. So that as well, it's like an element. We all know that Hunters failed, and a large part of that seemed to have been the community wanted to be able to play that type of game, like using recognizable heroes. Well, somebody could do that, you know what I mean? And it's like, I've seen UEFN projects that have proper matchmaking and like map selection. Like this could, it's not like you just need to load into Tatooine heroes versus villains. You can create a mode that's cycling maps. That's crazy to me, dude. Like,
so I was looking at when I was in there today, there's what's called a pre-start island. So I don't, to my knowledge, you don't build different scenes, but within your project, you can obviously, it's a bit like how the starter island in Fortnite is on the same map as the Fortnite map. It's just obviously pretty far away, just in the middle of the ocean. So you build your starter island in a place, and then you essentially teleport from point A to point B, and you can just like mask it out and stuff. Like it's, I need to look into it a little bit more, but yeah, I mean, you can build a little like spawn location that everyone is in, and then yeah, you just have like a map vote pop up with the UI and all that. Yeah,
So sick, dude.
it'd be pretty cool. But also like with the assets, I mean, yeah, okay, there's only like 4 planets that we can make officially with the Star Wars patch, but there's biomes obviously from the rest of the game that, you know, we could use to build Endor or like Dagobah or whatever.
Someone did in the trailer.
yeah.
There is an Endor map in that trailer, which is not an existing biome, as you said.
The TIE fighter. Yeah, I mean, in the current season, there is literally an area which has like massive like California redwood trees, which is Endor. So you can just add those in. That side scroller game in that trailer as well was literally Dagobah, and it was like inside the evil cave. So like that was the inspiration for that, which is really cool. So there's a lot of potential for maps using the Star Wars assets, and you know, even using existing Fortnite ones, which is really cool. And the other thing as well, actually, that I just find mental is that, you know, because you can monetize these, like people like myself and other developers can now actually earn money by making Star Wars games. Like it's that simple.
That's awesome.
And like that's just amazing. I mean, you know, the payout potential. I mean, I've seen some people get in 2024, Epic Games paid $10 million plus to 7 people / studios.
We looked at that when I came to your house, actually, didn't we?
We did, yeah. That was for 2023 as well. But yeah, it's like people are being paid tens of millions or millions or tens of thousands, whatever. Like, you know, the payout potential's crazy, and to be able to do that with Star Wars games is just mind blowing. Like, if I can make a couple of Unreal Engine like Star Wars Fortnite things get paid a lot of money, it means that I can then just keep making more and updating them and like, you know, make my own game, create my own studio. Like that would be mental, all because of Star Wars and Fortnite coming together. Crazy.
It's like we need to the lack of games, and we're all just like, all right, fuck it, I'll do it myself.
Right, yeah, exactly.
That's what's sick. Like
we could do it now,
actually do that. Yeah.
Sammy, I want to pass on over to you because if I'm not mistaken, you had quite a successful Jedi Survivor lightsaber customization video that you made once.
I did, yeah. They were fun videos to make, actually.
They were fun to watch.
That's a good point. I didn't even think of that. Like, just you can make some cool sabers.
You can make some cool stuff, man.
And this is what I was talking about with the depth. Like, it's not just, well, even what you said about the heroes. Like, if it's just you pick up the hero thing and then you're just Vader or Rey, but they're the exact same. It's just like, because that's kind of how it is in Fortnite when you get the saber and it's like, you're all the same, which again, it's not a knock on that because that's what that's meant to be. But if that was like that in that Team Conquest mode, I'd be a bit like, I picked up Vader, but it's no different than playing Rey or whoever else. But the fact they're actually different, that's where I'm like, okay, now I can actually sink my teeth in and learn how to play Vader. He might be really hard because he's a bit slower and stuff, but he's like tankier, and like that to me is what draws me into games, is that learning curve. Yeah, well, true, yeah, but like that sort of stuff is so big to me. Like, if the gameplay is just running, and that's kind of why I've fallen off COD. I think COD is just pick up a gun and run and shoot people, and it's fun, but it doesn't grab me long term. It's like you play it for a session and you're like, all right, I've pretty much done everything you can do in this game at this point.
Well, just to touch on what you said about heroes, some of the characters in Fortnite that you go and see in the Star Wars season when they give you a lightsaber, like when Palpatine gives you the Sith saber, that gives you a different force ability than the light side saber that Rey gives you. And that's what this is allowing us to do here in this creation. So even outside of the heroes, we can create custom lightsabers that you can put into your own maps that do different things. So the bottom 3 here particularly, you can choose what ability you get from picking up a specific lightsaber, its stability and its arcing. I don't quite know what it means by arcing. I guess
arcing is speed. So arcing is the like Kylo Ren lightning.
Yeah, how it's like
how the lightning arcs from point A to point B and stuff. So the higher you turn it up, the more it will.
So in fact, these bottom 2 would potentially change based on the ability.
Yeah,
if you weren't using lightning, that might be like force push distance instead.
I wonder if arcing is like how often it arcs round, but stability is like the spitting of it. I'm thinking it might be that, but I don't know.
Gotcha.
Because you could have
But
it
either
splitting
way-
but not arcing, basically.
Yeah.
Either way, how sick is that, dude? Like,
Yeah.
you could create these. You could time when these certain lightsabers spawn in on a map, much like in Halo, when you
Yeah,
a sniper
you can.
drops every 3 minutes or something.
Yeah.
Like, bang, middle of the map, there's the Force lightning saber, and you're just dominating because it's just you're the only dude running around, or vice versa. It could be the Force push, the Force pull. Like, oh my god,
dude, honestly,
I don't know
like,
if you can tell, I'm pretty jazzed about this. Honestly.
Dude, come over at some point. I will show you how to do that. It's actually
100%.
dude, it's so easy. Like, you just put an item spawner in, and there's a setting that literally says like spawn item after time, and you just tick a box, and then you choose the time you want. Play game,
And there it goes.
and there it goes.
Yeah.
But obviously that's one small piece of a big machine, but still, like.
And here it is in action. Even just being able to do that, and it being like a Star Wars. I mean, it's pretty heavily inspired by the Jedi Survivor stuff, if you ask me.
Yeah,
that's just like, there we go. What have we got there? We've got Mind Trick.
Yeah, so they've added a couple of new
Well,
Force
there's
abilities
some new
for
stuff,
this
yeah.
as well, which is really cool.
Saber throw, Force lightning, like a heal. I'll just like.
Well, here's the stability stuff.
Oh, here we
I
go.
wonder.
Yeah.
Okay, so the stability and arcing does apply to both. Oh, it's the visuals.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. So the higher the arcing, the more it. Yeah. Like.
Oh, I got it. Okay. Oh, dude, that's so sick.
Yeah. So the lightsaber workbench actually isn't in the game currently, but it will be. Like between now and May 1st, it will get added in. Yeah. Same with there's another feature that's also not quite in the game just yet, but it will be soon.
That's really fun. And who are these? So that's Kylo's, Mace Windu's, that's Rey's, that's Maul's. Is that potentially Qui-Gon's there?
One of them,
I think so.
I think it's Qui-Gon's. Another one's Obi-Wan's from episode
What's
1.
that?
That looks like
it's Ahsoka.
Ahsoka's, but not curved.
Yeah. I think it is
her
curved
original.
slightly, but it's her white samurai.
That's what I thought.
Hilts.
But I feel like they're much more curved in the. Who's this? Is that Obi-Wan Kenobi's episode 1?
That's Obi-Wan.
Yeah, that's Obi-Wan's. Yeah. And then there's Vader on the left. There's Vader at the top. Obi-Wan.
Oh yeah.
And I can't tell.
And Luke, I think that's Luke's saber. I think.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe.
Luke, Obi-Wan episode 3, and then Vader. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, even the fact
that middle one's Luke Return of the Jedi.
That's Luke Return of the Jedi.
That's Luke Return of the Jedi. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, it is too. Yeah.
Are they both Luke's?
No, I don't think so. I can't really make out what that bottom one is.
I guess it's probably a bit difficult for you guys, isn't it? But either way,
that's Obi-Wan's. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think number 2 is Obi-Wan and number 3 is Luke, I believe.
No, 3 is Obi-Wan. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I didn't realize it had that much black on it, to be honest.
But honestly, just there's so much cool stuff to unpack with this. Like,
the potential's mental. Like, yeah. I mean, what I've said, obviously, that I'm going to do some stuff. Like, it's not going to be anything crazy. It's actually like more. I mean, I already told you guys anyway, but I'm not like, I don't know if I'm going to like announce it just yet or not. But it is just going to be like a sort of a fun, silly mode that, well, hopefully it's fun. But yeah, it will just something that I'm doing on my own will be a little bit silly, and hopefully people can enjoy it. And then the other thing will be a bit more serious, but just to get myself back into it and just enjoy it really. So yeah,
for sure, man. I mean, it's stuff like this. Look, like there's
actually a reputation system there as well.
Yeah.
I think that might be what determines hero or not. Or
you can go and speak to like NPCs and stuff in a reputation.
Oh yeah, this is the role playing stuff. Yeah. This is the Cantina roleplay thing, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, I need to have a look at that.
So it's stuff like this, though, dude. Like, it's the little touches that I think will make a difference here. That will immerse you in this more than just simply Star Wars in a Fortnite creator. It's like having like the little hologram effect behind this character's portrait here, and the same with the loadout over here. It's just enough for me to be really excited about this, and I think it's gonna be so fun, man. And then when it was the biomes, I wanted to bring up the biomes. There it is. So we've obviously got Tatooine, which again, I mean, like even down to genuinely giving us the binary suns in the sky.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah, I mean, like having the biomes means that like someone could actually just go and build an open world Star Wars game. Like you could build space to ground essentially as well. Like
it looks
and
good,
there's
right?
a hyperspace.
Looking,
yeah, there's a hyperspace feature as well, so that it's a teleport thing as visual effects. So you can like take off from like Hoth and then like hyperspace, and you're on Tatooine. Like, mental.
Didn't even think about that,
well.
the single player side of it. Like when I think Fortnite, I just think multiplayer fun stuff. But you can literally just make a fucking RPG. Like it's crazy.
No, you absolutely can. And that's the thing. I think a lot of people will forget about that with UEFN. You can build single player experiences.
This is crazy.
With this Navarro map, insane. Like you can
build.
I'm pretty sure you can put this in your own project. And then you could just build your own little like Mando story within it because of the custom UI and the speech tool and stuff. Like it's mad.
Well, this one here, that Navarro one's got loads of NPCs in it, like a ton of NPCs in it. It's like, and then obviously we get sorry, let me just get that. Then space combat as well. Like, dude, fucking, oh my god!
They've added missiles to the TIE fighters, and it's so nice.
It's so good. Like, honestly, I just. Yeah, I don't think I could be more excited about it. Actually, genuinely, this is really high on my list of things Star Wars wise in the moment that to be excited about. Which is hilarious because we were talking about having nothing, and then now we've got endless possibilities now. So I just is there anything about it that worries you though? Because for me, the main worry is that cool stuff will get lost behind all of the like slop shit that people make in Fortnite, which is like
that's my main concern. Is like that's the same issue with Portal. Is it's like the potential for Portal is just wild. Like in the first week, some dude built a Star Destroyer in Battlefield Portal, but like no one does anything cool with it because it's all just fucking XP farming nonsense, like
crap. Yeah, which is a lot of what happens with Fortnite.
And so like that's my only real concern is that again it's not the big official Star Wars game announcement, and therefore a lot of people will just be like, I don't know, it doesn't interest me, and then you're missing it. You might not be able to find matches of the cool modes because there's not enough people playing that, because there's not enough excitement around. That's like my main concern. Fortnite's massive, so obviously the player base will be there, but like I just hope that there is a good way for them to make sure that they're like showing off the good stuff. Like you said, if they have that official like buy Epic mode and it's there, that's one thing, but showing off like community stuff and making sure that's like spotlighted all the time will be
Epic themselves need to do that. They need to there needs to be manual intervention of them promoting good quality content.
It's like each week just have a rotation, just go find Mark's mode and be like, oh, that's like they should play him and be like, that's really cool, let's put that on the main menu, and like that then there's no problem to me. But it's just finding it, and it's maybe easier for us because we're creators. We can, if I make a mode myself, I can promote it myself for free. So it's like
that's the thing.
That's one thing. But for the average person that wants to do that, it's like if you want to actually get it out there, and you're gonna have to be getting word of mouth out somehow, and it's it can just be really tough. That's the main thing that like Portal has had that as a downfall, and Fortnite will do it better because Battlefield, like that's not their main thing, but like that's just a slight concern for me for sure.
I don't want the top thing to be Star Wars 10 million XP in 10 minutes. Do you know, I don't want to see that.
No, absolutely not. Like, I mean, I feel like the mode that I'm going to make probably it doesn't fall under like anything crazy good, but it'll just be like a fun, stupid thing that. I mean, like if it gets to the top of the pile, then yay me. But we'll see. I think what I was gonna say a few minutes ago though is that like if I was on my own this entire weekend, I think I would genuinely just sit in this chair and just like make stuff the entire weekend. Like don't even want to sleep, just keep on building it, and for me is just so exciting because I've not had that feeling ever really, but because the tools are so accessible, like I don't have to worry about gameplay scripting or animation or anything like that. It's like, you know, a lot of those processes are so complicated and you have to use multiple softwares and stuff. Like the fact that you can just build it in one software, like there's essentially ChatGPT within UEFN as well. It's an AI assistant, so that if you're stuck on something, you can be like, hey, this is causing me problems, what can I do to fix it? And it will generate code for you, or it will tell you like where to find stuff. And
That's impressive.
It's so useful. I mean, I ran into an issue where and maybe it was because the language I used, it wasn't the most helpful, but it made me, it gave me an item grant rather than an item spawner. So then I was like dicking around with an item granter for an hour, not realizing I wanted an item spawner. So it's like you gotta be really careful, but like it's so useful. But then at the same time, I now know how to use that item granter if I want to. So
great, at least
that's pretty helpful.
True.
But yeah, it's such an incredible tool, and it's insanely empowering. So yeah, so happy with Epic, and you know, glad that and grateful to Disney that they're letting people, you know, use this stuff. Like it's mind blowing.
Yeah, it's shocking to me that like you can make money off it, because like I thought with Disney it's like fucking no, that's our money, but the fact that like people can make money off stuff like that is crazy.
I guess that shows they've got a level of confidence in it, because like I said, they take a 20% cut of the revenue made by creator-made maps in this. And as Split said earlier, like there was like 7 creators in 2024 who made above $1 million from their maps.
Above 10 million.
10 million, sorry. There you go. So that's
above
$2
$1 million
million.
was like, well, let me try and find it. But that's exactly it.
But as an example,
right? Like,
that's $2 million for them, each of those maps. Do you know what I mean? So
this is what I've been saying about their licensing thing too, is like let people make shit, lower the licensing, and you'll make more money in the long run, because then shit like this happen. Imagine they would charge 50% on this or something, people would be way less interested in doing it. But because like 20% is fair in my opinion. It's like 100%. Especially for like non-studios, because I don't have to pay for, if I want to make a mirror, I don't have to pay for an office and support 300 freaking developers. So it's like, this is just a free money generator for them, realistically.
I think 20%, as you say, is actually incredibly reasonable. Like, because they could have said 50%. We own Star Wars. Let you use it. Bosh. End of debate. 50%. And I think 20s. That shows me a level of confidence, and also a level of like drive from them. They want people to do this. They want this to be big. They want Star Wars projects in this game to be successful. So yeah, it gives me a lot of confidence, man. And I tell you what, man, Fuse Games better watch out, because someone's going to create the galactic Tauntaun racing circuit, bro, and it's going to be
Well, I did see that. Well, there's a rumor that Star Wars, so Rocket Racing, there's a rumor that there's going to be a Star Wars map on Rocket Racing at some point. But you could literally just, that would be really cool. But you could just build your own Star Wars racing game in this anyway.
100%.
Because why not? Like, you've got cars in the game, they'd all basically be the same, so there isn't really much like exciting to it. But just for reference, I have that payout number stuff. Shoot. So in 2023 there were 5 people or studios that made $10 million plus, 13 that made $3 million plus, and 43 that made $1 million plus. In 2024 there was 7 at 10 million plus, 14 at 3 million plus, and 37 at 1 million plus. But then 300k, 100k, 10k was insanely bigger. Like, I won't go into it because we could be here all day, but double the amount of creators made 100k, and over triple made 10k from 23 into 24.
Like, even that's pretty crazy, just making a cool Star Wars thing and you get 10 grand for it. Like, that's pretty wild.
Yeah, it would be insane.
I mean, we don't know how much time goes into those to create that. I mean, that person could have put in way more time to create 10k than they would if they just went to work. But I bet you the guy who made 10 million, or the studio, because some of these are made by studios, right? Rather than
no, they are.
Those people who made 10 million didn't put in as much time as just going to a regular day job to make £10 million. That's huge. Like, and that, can you imagine that? Split, you say yourself, you create a mode. Imagine you even made 10,
I've
20K
already imagined it, mate. I've been,
Like,
I was speaking to people at work. It's like because the job I work in, we use a lot of freelancers, and it's like if I could make, I don't know, 100K from this mode that I'm going to make with 3 of my freelance team, and then be able to, after the cuts and stuff, let's say we make 100K and then we end up with about 60. It's like, well, I could then give them a 6-month contract where they all earn like 15K in 6 months to then go and build like
more style stuff,
like
yeah.
way more experiences, and like just gives them more security and more freedom, and that's something that in the modern climate is so hard to come by. So yeah, I mean 15K in 6 months is not insane, but early careers, like, I mean, it's essentially 30K
even just as a
year, which is
side hustle
decent
for
salary.
people
So
too. Like,
yeah,
it's
and
crazy
absolutely,
that
yeah,
you can
it
just
could just
turn
be
that
a
into
side
a little
hustle.
business for yourself on the side. Like,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
for
yeah.
example, we could be doing YouTube full time, but then you got that on the side where you're building modes and shit. Like,
well, that's the
it's
other thing.
crazy.
It's like if I release this mode and then somehow make 100K in like a few months from it, or like by the rest of the year, I could like go YouTube full time for a couple of years off the back of that. It's like that's mind blowing. So yeah,
I mean, I think
exciting.
this, as we touched on, there's reasons to be excited, reasons to be concerned here, but it's a net win, isn't it? It's absolutely a net win that this exists.
100%.
Like, and I just think, wow, man, like, do you remember we played a Creator Island before, and it was someone had recreated Galaxy's Edge.
Yes, I do remember
with no official start, and it was quite cool, right? To a degree.
Oh yeah, it was incredible for no official Star Wars. Yeah, absolutely.
Imagine what people can do now, dude. Like, look, there's Navarro there, and it looks fantastic. I'm sure somebody will go and do Galaxy's Edge with some official assets now, and it will look great. And other things. Do you mean to create Naboo and Theed, and or actually stuff that we've never seen in video games before? Like, this, man, yeah. I'm very excited, and I could sit here and talk to you guys about this all day. I'll try not to, because Sammy see a man about a dog at some point. So, but I mean, with some final closing words, I think this couldn't have come at a better time either, because we know we've all been starved for some Star Wars content, particularly in gaming. And before you know it, man, May 1st is not far away, and I bet you come May 1st, some people have created some really awesome stuff already.
100%.
It won't take some people that long.
No. Well, there's this guy doing, and you've already seen it, but he's making Star Wars Battle Fort. He's already like created like so much of his Hoth map. He's gonna do Naboo and Camino.
I think I have seen that.
Genesee or something.
Reaper.
Maybe I haven't seen that.
He posted like the Darth Vader hallway scene. Like,
it's him. Oh, sorry. Yes,
essentially,
that
straight away, being like, "Oh, this could be fun," and then announce he's doing Star Wars Battle Fort, and it's just like, that's insane. He's already made so much progress on that, and by the time it gets to May 1st, which was essentially a month and a half away from, like, he could actually be done. And it's just crazy. And if everyone supports him, then that's life changing, like insane life changing for him. So I
mean, some people have been doing creative maps for years at this point, and to them, this, whilst there's a couple of new elements here, particularly Star Wars stuff, they know this sandbox and toolkit like the back of their hand, so they're going to fly through some of this stuff, and we're going to get some really fun stuff. And then there'll be other guys out there who say, you know what, I'm going to put 6 months into this game, and I'm going to touch it every Saturday night. I'm going to grind it and grind it and grind it, and we're going to be like, yo, that is. And I think my mind, and it's my own fault, always goes to shooters, but it isn't going to be just shooters. As we've already said, there's going to be other crazy fun stuff. There's going to be space stuff. There could be racing stuff. God knows what that is. I mean, as I say, I'll try and wind this down a little bit. Any final thoughts on this from you guys? Like, I say what, let me change that. And Split, you need to answer this without giving away your own project. If you could have one game type or mode or something come out of this, created by someone else, not yourself. Let's cap it at that. If somebody could create like the best thing you could think of, you can get your hands on it, think, what would it be? So I'll go for me. I've answered already. For me, I want someone to give me Halo Star Wars, which is fully possible within this.
Yeah. I think for me, that Star Wars Battlefront thing, that concept of essentially just making Battlefront in style in Fortnite, for me, that's like the pinnacle at the moment. Like a multiplayer shooter is what I want, and obviously we're likely to be years away from actually getting an official one. So if for the time being we can get that, then you know I'm happy if they can keep building onto it.
I think for me it would actually be like essentially hunters, but in this, like, but it doesn't need to be those characters, but just like some sort of like a little hero shooter, or even to an extent a Battlefront, but with like smaller scale kind of thing where there's some infantry and some heroes or something. I think that sort of thing would be cool, just at like first glance. But then if I sat there and thought about it, like I feel like there's just a million things that it would be so
much you could do. Yeah,
even that like side scroller, turning that into like a Prince of Persia Star Wars game, like something like that would be just insane. Like so many cool games. I'm more thinking now like single player type stuff that isn't what I would initially think of, because again I go to shooters like you do. Like that's just what it's Fortnite. It's a shooter. Put a cool shooter mode in there, but like there's a million things they could do. So man, the possibilities are literally endless. Like any game that has ever been made, you could pretty much port that into Star Wars into Fortnite. Like it'd be so cool.
Well, the future's looking bright, boys, I think, ultimately. And I mean that as like a wider Star Wars gaming concept now. You know, this is great. This is limitless potential, but we've also got Galactic Racer, hopefully just around the corner. Zero Companies, hopefully not too far away. Star Wars Monopoly, obviously, we know is coming. We've also got the Star Wars card game coming out at some point, the digital version. Then even further into the future, of course, we've got Eclipse, we've got Photor, we've got Knights of the Old Republic remakes. There's, you know, we might be in for a good ride. Jedi 3 is probably not too far away if we're being realistic.
I'd assume.
Before we know it, we could be eating Star Wars content, man. So it's a good time to be a Star Wars fan, good time to be a Star Wars gaming fan. And obviously we got a cool look at First Assault recently. It's just, man, my own mental sort of like space on Star Wars gaming has shifted really fast. I've gone pretty much since the Game Awards, actually. I've gone from being like so flattened.
We all had like a meltdown that week before, bro. Remember the card game got announced, and even that, I'm excited for that. But we were like, I was like raging. I was like, bruh, that is not what you need to be talking about right now. Yeah. And then here we are a few months later, and there's like multiple games we didn't know of. There's this Fortnite stuff. Like it's
Shout out to Lucasfilm Games, bro. Like, keep cooking. Like,
I've been reading our DMs. I think.
I think, like for me as a creator, it's like we've been so flattened, and I mean now because of the UEFN stuff, it's like there's unlimited potential for content for us to make now, because so many people are going to be making Star Wars maps and modes, and like we can do. It could be that we like play a video. Like one video of like a particular thing, we try it out, or like hero guides for Battle 4 or whatever. Like I'm so excited by that. And obviously we've then got the official Star Wars stuff on the side, and me making my own stuff. I'm gonna probably post content about all that as well, like dev updates.
100%, dude.
Like
use that
it's
platform
just,
for it.
It's so exciting for me. Like I'm so ready. Like if I could just sink all of my life into this right now, I genuinely would. But alas.
Alas, you do have a real life outside of.
I do have a life,
Contrary to popular belief, he does.
It's not just Star Wars.
No, just mostly Star Wars, right?
It is like 90%, but
also behind you is that the Valentine's Day Ewok?
It is.
That one, see it?
Yeah.
Yes, dude, so sick. Is that new?
It came out this year. I got it for my girlfriend for Valentine's Day.
That's so cool, bro.
Yeah, Cupid Ewok plus like a BD one. So that's cool.
Oh, nice. Well, boys, look, it's been another fun chat, actually. I know we say it every time, but man, I love doing these. These are so much fun.
Yeah.
Honestly,
always invigorates me for Star Wars stuff. Like every time, I just get so excited.
if you're watching this as a fan, take this as no insult, but I almost don't even record these for the views at this point. It's just so much fun getting on here and just chopping up reviews too. So, but obviously we generally do enjoy and appreciate all the support that comes through on anybody who watches these. It's appreciated. And guys, that's going to do it for this one.
Amazing.
Thank you for coming through again. I'm sure it won't be too long before we get back on for another one. But
it won't.
One more thing as well. One more thing. We are now above average. The average podcast doesn't make it past roughly 5 episodes, so we are now above average. In terms of production, quality remains to be seen.
I
mean, no one else has a Glup Shitto. Yeah,
precisely.
No one else is doing that.
Well, I'm going to keep cooking on that one. I'm going to try and come in with an even best one for the third segment of that. So anyway, I've been Parallel. I've been lucky enough to be joined once again by Splitscreen and Sammyboiii. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.